What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Jason with JCS Reefing, and in this video we are going to open up and take a look at the OR3 150 light strips as well as the Osix controller from Orphek. Now my light strips that are going to be put on this tank are the OR3 150s, which come in at 60.4 inches, 153.5 centimeters by 1.97 inches or 5 centimeters. Now all of these lights are 100% passive cooled. What I mean by that is that there's no fan. So if you're looking for a light that is extremely quiet, this is definitely probably up your alley. As well as the industrial, I don't know how to describe it, but the build quality is just unbelievable. The high quality aluminum as well as the mixed in acrylic, super thick, all has seals. I did kind of pry a little bit and take a little bit of the pieces apart, but just had to do just enough to know that the build quality was there. All the industrial connectors, everything is just top notch. Now once I got all of that out of the boxes, the other thing that I had was the power supply. Now they don't cheap on that either. You got a Meanwell power supply, which in the industry is extremely well known. And then you have their Wi-Fi controller, which is the Osix. Now basically this controller can control up to 6 independent light strips. So you can get 6 different color channels if you want, or all the same, it doesn't matter, but it can control 6 of them by using one single outlet going through the Meanwell supply. It also comes with some hanging brackets or hanging kit if you want to go that route. But for my application, I'm actually going to use the Orphek hanging LED light bracket. The reason why I'm using this light bracket is because this is not going to be my primary lighting on my tank. My tank is running XR30s as well as a couple XR15s on the end. So the reason being is I'm going to try to mount this on the top of the current bracket that I have on my tank and get rid of the 2 XR15s that are on the end and run the XR30s horizontally with the tank. Now as far as the bracket goes, there's pretty much no easier bracket to assemble. It comes with a ton of different parts that you might need, whether you're hanging it from the ceiling, whether you're trying to mount it on the back of the tank stand to come and flow over the front, or come over the back of the tank stand and kind of suspend in the air. It basically has these 2 screws that go in the top, and then you basically just use the nut that screws onto the top of the bolt and pick where you want your lights to be. In my case, I measured it all out. So these lights will be running a UV spectrum on the back part of my tank and a blue plus spectrum on the front part of my tank. And then I can adjust where this needs to be so it sits on the current lighting system that I have on my tank. Now once everything was screwed down, it was pretty simple to pick these up. Yes, they do have some weight to them, I will say that, but that's kind of expected when you go with something that has more of a passive cooling rather than fans. They're going to use a lot of aluminum or steel or whatever it might be to get rid of that heat that's coming off of the LEDs themselves. Now once again, I'm going to touch base quickly on the build quality of these lights. As you can see, the acrylic is super thick, and I know I already mentioned this, but these lights, I feel like I could almost dunk them in water and use them underwater if I wanted to. Now obviously that's not recommended, but I believe these lights are IP67 rated. I'm not sure if that's the correct number, I'm no engineer, but I know for a fact that these lights are built to last. Now the planning on my tank specifically is I was running some XR15s front to back because the tank is 30 inches deep. So I was running some XR15s front to back to get full coverage. Now you can see I have a Gen 4 on the end. I'm expressing to hopefully take that Gen 4 off, run a light strip down the back, and run a light strip down the front. Now, once I plugged these things in, I was extremely surprised at the brightness. It was almost hard for me to kind of video. I'm not a professional videographer or anything by means, but you can kind of get the understanding that these things definitely pack a punch. And as far as the look of it goes, I love the individual spectrums on all the LEDs. Now, the app itself is pretty self-explanatory. If you can connect a smart bulb to your house, then I'm pretty sure you can figure this app out. It's basically just going to search for the device. Once it finds the device, you click on it. You can name it whatever you want. In my case, I just named it Orphek, and then you can adjust the channels as needed. Now, this is one part that did confuse me slightly, so I did contact Orphek and kind of figure out, am I controlling each individual spectrum? Now, it took a minute to understand, but it's pretty basic. You got 2 light strips, channel 1, channel 2, as you can see here. If I try to turn up channel 4, I have no light strip plugged into the Osix controller, which can control up to 6 individual LED light strips. So if you had 6, you could turn them all up to 100% and they would all go up to 100% or 50 or so on and so forth. So if that makes any sense, it's pretty much self-explanatory once you figure that out. Now, as far as programming, you can use the program that's already built in. Basically pick your start, your end time, and your intensity, and you can go from there. You'll be set. You can also pick some of the I call them gimmicky things: jellyfish, lunar, cloud coverage, lightning storm, whatever it might be. You can pick all that kind of stuff too as well. But one thing that I did want to kind of show you is that you need to click on each individual point at the bottom if you wanted to have a ramping schedule where it may start at 20% and ramp up to 100 during daytime and then come back down. That is something that you're going to need to kind of mess with a little bit and control the bottom points. Now, this is a video from their website, so I'm just going to let this thing roll and you'll kind of understand the concept of how it works. Now, as far as par goes, we're going to knock that right out of the way because I know that's going to be questions that are going to come up. 2 light strips, blue plus, UV spectrum. In between the lights, I'm getting about 220, 230, kind of centered in the middle of my tank, which is 22 inches deep. If I go right at the surface, yes, I'm going to break about 300, but it's 2 light strips. So I can't really be happier with that. And as far as the color pop goes, man, I'll take it all day. This is a shot of my tank with just the 2 Orphek light strips. I have the UV running down the back and I have the blue plus running down the front. Now, this was not an edited video. This is basically just pick up my camera, put the Orphek lens filter over it, and I can shoot and I can get some decent videos like this. It's not perfect. I'm not a videographer, but I'm extremely happy. And then once I add the radions to it, never had issues with any of my radions. I simply just wanted to be able to use some light strips for some more color pop. So don't come back telling me that radions are better or AI is better, this, that. This is not that kind of video, and I'm not here to sit and listen to it. So I've ran multiple different lightings on many different systems over the last 20 years. So I'm just simply speaking my mind and kind of getting my own perspective on lighting out there. That there's many different ways to light a reef tank. You can go with 1 brand, you can go with 10 brands, you can go with cheap brands, expensive brands. I mean, it's pretty much endless. At the end of the day, all we want is our tanks to look good and healthy and, you know, keep the ecosystem inside of our basically ocean in a box to be thriving. And for myself, I was trying to eliminate a couple lights on the ends, so I went with light strips, and I really am extremely pleased with how it all turned out. Now you can see I do have that one XR15 hanging off on the right side. I got rid of the one on the left side. The one on the right will be coming down here shortly, and now both of my, or all three of my XR30s are running horizontally, and as well as the light strips in the front from Orphek and the light strips in the back. Now if you like this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up, and definitely like, comment, subscribe, and happy roofing. Cheers.